Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Pagey, here once again with another video, and I'm actually joined today by DJ Eric. Eric's reloaded, so feel free to say hello, Eric.
Hello.
That was
Hello.
a bit more central than I was hoping for, but anyway. But we've just had Blue Beetle come out over the past, I don't know, let's say week and a bit, because I might not upload this the next day from when we're recording. But that's the second last movie in the DCEU, though it's not overly connected in the actual film itself. But we did get confirmation today that Aquaman 2 or Aquaman the Lost Kingdom will be coming out by the end of the year. They're not moving it, at least for now they're not moving it. Who knows, things can change. So by the end of this year, the DCEU is done. That's it. And we'll be moving into the DCU with James Gunn. Actually next year, because Creature Commandos does come out, and Waller was slated, but I don't know if it's still going to come out at that point. That's a wait and see. But officially we'll be there with Superman Legacy in the middle of 2025. So we get a bit of a breather, a bit of a rest in regards to the movie side, which, let's be honest, it might be a good thing. It might be a good thing based off the box office, and we can have a bit of a rest and then come back with a bit of a recharge in the middle of 2025 with the big boy in blue. But one curious factor that a lot of people have, and that James Gunn has been a bit vague on, which I think is intentional. I don't think he's like I have no idea. I think he's like being mysterious on purpose, because he doesn't want to, there's still a big break between this point and Superman Legacy and what comes afterwards. But it's what characters are going to be shifted over. I think the term that people are using is grandfathered, which I'd never heard before, but grandfathered. I don't know. Do you know the origins of that term, or is it just?
I don't know where it came from, but yeah, I've heard it before.
Yeah,
it's applied to different things, but not really with entertainment stuff. So it's a little interesting. People are saying that.
Yeah, but grandfathered or shifted over from the DCU into the DCU. There's a lot of curiosity about what characters, and we do know there's a handful already. So it's not like there's none that's been confirmed. We know that Peacemaker, played by John Cena, you can't see him, and the rest of the cast of Peacemaker that was there in season 1, including Vigilante and stuff, they're shifting over because we know we're getting Peacemaker season 2, and also that's going to play into the Amanda Waller show, or Waller, which of course then means Amanda Waller carries over. And the last one that's been confirmed is Blue Beetle, which has been said for a while, though the movie itself isn't canon, which, anyway, that's a bit confusing. But yeah, anyway, so the character itself will be shifted over. So that's what we know so far. Are you happy with that selection so far? You don't have any complaints?
Not really. There is, they say Blue Beetle's movie's not canon, but Blue Beetle is. So I wonder if that applies to Peacemaker as well, and all the characters from that particular show, like the connections with Waller and everything. I wonder if they're just going to be like those actors playing those characters and then like existing in the new universe. That's what I'm wondering. If they're going to do that.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of, if there is going to be changes, is that like the smaller things change, and then maybe it's just like the major things like involving Waller and involving like character changes with Peacemaker, they stick. But I have a feeling they're just going to keep it because Peacemaker itself sort of stays within its own bubble outside of the thing in the finale. So I don't know if there's much issues there. And Blue Beetle is the same; it stays in its own bubble. The only issue is probably Waller, because she's actually interacted with a bunch of characters.
Yeah,
but including Black Adam.
Black Adam sending Superman. So like, how is that even?
Yeah, so she's probably the one with the biggest question mark on her. But once again, they'll just make it that she's, a big character. She interacts with a lot of people. She probably doesn't remember what she does, last week, because she does so much stuff. So that's probably the case there. But now we move on from what we know. That doesn't matter. That's confirmed. There's no speculation around that. It's about who could come over and who we think has a decent chance. And we'll probably mention like 3 each roughly. Do you have 3 written down, Eric? Or okay, 3 exactly. That's good. Good number.
6.
Oh, you got 6.
I'm just joking.
Okay. Oh, that's disappointing. That would have been good if you had 6. It's not like I struggled to only get 3, but 6 would have been impressive. But I'm going to list my top 3. Doesn't matter if we cross over. That's probably a good thing that we cross over, because it probably adds us more support there. So I'll list my 3, and then we'll go over your 3 if there are any differences. So my 3 in regards to the ones that I think have a decent chance to cross over, that haven't been confirmed at this point, like those Peacemaker and Blue Beetle ones. Firstly is Harley Quinn, played by Margot Robbie. And this mainly comes down to Warner Brothers would be so stupid. James Gunn would honestly be looked at and go, you're keeping, some of these other characters, but not keeping her. After Barbie, it'd be ridiculous. It'd be, like asylum-inducing questioning.
Lobotomy.
Yeah, like what happened? Did you hit your head? But that's a big thing. It matters if she wants to continue. But I think she would. Like, I think she has fun when she plays Harley Quinn. And also, I think it takes a bit of responsibility away from her because I think she produces all the other movies she stars in.
Mhm.
So this one, she'd just be doing a movie, and it probably
Right.
is a good like break or something like that. And I think it's one of the better characters in regards to just the DCU, in regards to especially when it comes to like the caliber of the
Mhm.
actor as well. So, do you have any issues with Harley Quinn? I think it's a good fit. Once again, also interacted with Peacemaker and
Mhm.
Amanda Waller, and was alive at the end of the Suicide Squad.
No, I don't have an issue with Harley Quinn at all. She was one of my choices, so there we go. We're overlapping.
Okay, there's the
So
first
yeah,
crossover.
that's okay.
Nice.
But I think it goes without saying that I think her Harley Quinn, even in the bad like the movies that didn't hit well, like Birds of Prey, that I know you like it. I'm not a fan of Birds of Prey, but she still nailed the character. Like she's still
Even in the
Harley
first
Quinn.
Suicide Squad,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
still
So
one of the
I don't
highlights,
have
even though movies
any.
did ass.
Yeah, I have no issues with her whatsoever. And right now she's very trendy because of everything that's happening with Barbie. I'll be honest, if they weren't on strike, I would not be surprised if they would have already made an announcement about her sticking around as Harley Quinn. It'll probably be one of the things we hear, fingers crossed, like after this is all done, that
Yeah.
the Warner Brothers called her up and said, "Hey, we want you on board. Like, let's do it."
And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if she ends up being the highest paid person
Mm,
involved in DC
yeah.
because of all that. So yeah, Harley Quinn I think is a solid option. The next one's a bit of a loophole, not a loophole, but a bit of a spanner in the works. Could use another term, but I might give it away too quickly. And that's because the character's dead. And that
Mm.
is Captain Boomerang.
Oh, okay.
Or Boomerang, if I want to say it correctly. And the reason I say this is because I don't know if I could see anyone else playing it outside of Jai Courtney. And I think you have to have this character in there. I might be biased because it's an Australian character and there's not many of them,
Mm.
but I have to put him in there. I think it'd be like a bit unpatriotic not to do it. And I was so pissed off when he died in the Suicide Squad. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I knew it was going to happen because he wasn't in any of the trailers outside of the opening bit. So I was like, well, he's probably dead. But I had like that glimmer of hope that maybe he just doesn't die or something, or he, I don't know, just doesn't go on the mission or whatever it was. But if we're doing Flash again, because they're going to do Flash again, just matters where, and we never got these two properly interacting.
Right.
I need it. I need it as a Flash fan, as an Australian. I just need and Jai Courtney's always been criticized as like someone that like he shouldn't be that big of a star. He perfectly suits this role.
Oh, who's saying that? Who says he shouldn't be a big?
People say because but he's been in crap movies. I don't think he's been bad in them, but he's in like that bad Terminator movie and stuff like that. But I think if you watch him as Captain Boomerang go, he's not good as it. Delusional. Yeah. You should go to the asylum. So he's one of my top choices. Do you agree? Disagree? You're going to be?
I didn't think of him.
It?
I didn't. I'll be honest. He's not.
That's because he's dead. I mean, it's maybe a bit unfair because he was dead.
However, that doesn't really mean anything, right? I mean, they could just have.
Well, it's meant to be a soft reboot of sorts where things change.
So with Ezra changing the timeline, I guess anything is possible. So I mean, he could be alive and well. So yeah, no, I agree with that. I would love to see it. Well, because if we ever get back to the Flash again, and I hope we do, we're going to need a rogues gallery, and I think it's important to start with some of the classics, and Captain Boomerang is one of those classic characters. So
yeah, you have your Captain Cold, your Heat Wave, and your pretty much your Captain Boomerang. Those are at least Captain Cold and Captain Boomerang, to the two captains. They're the two that I think of when I think of like rogues that just like go do casual stuff throughout the day. Not a Gorilla Grodd or Reverse Flash or whatever it is, but it's those two. So I think that's
why we and completely unrelated, but that's kind of why we need to restart with the Flash, because where Ezra's Flash was is far too powerful to deal with like a regular Captain Boomerang. So they would need he'd have to have meta powers.
He should be like first, like Flash is just learning his powers.
Yep.
So he has to use his head more than his powers to deal with someone like Captain
they could do
Boomerang
a rogues movie with like half the rogues, Captain Boomerang, Captain Cold, Heatwave, and call it a day. That could be the first movie. So
and if that I've brought it up a couple of times when we talk about the Flash and the DCU, if that rumored rogues thing is there, that opens it up perfectly, because you can focus on the rogues, build them up, and I better see Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. That's all I'm asking. And my final one, which you might have, you might not, you might have gone, no, I'm not putting that person down, is Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot. Now, this was confirmed, then unconfirmed, but James Gunn has said nothing about it. He said nothing about it, but Gal Gadot says that she's had talks about it. So it's a very confusing one. It's just
that unreliable source, that was like, oh no, this is all fake.
So I put it down, and my main reason for that is, and it's sort of similar to the Harley Quinn one. Even though we have Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn, most people see Harley Quinn as Margot Robbie. Like, no one's going to go after Joker 2 comes out, no one's going to start calling or constantly referring to Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Like, people just see Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Like that's what I think, and that's my prediction. But I think the same thing goes with Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot. And I was sort of surprised when all that news was coming out and was like, no, we hate Gal Gadot. We don't want her. I was like, when did that happen? And
You mean the
I
fan
think,
reception of Gal Gadot?
well, the Twitter reception,
Oh,
quote
okay.
unquote fan. Like, I know Twitter is
I
reliable.
was excited about it. I've already said though it is very confusing on like how and why certain characters are going to stay the same. So I'm hoping that he makes it clear, like if she is coming back, because she's probably the next to Harley Quinn. She's the next like biggest
recognizable
character. I know we say Waller is problematic, but I believe that like Harley and Wonder Woman would be very, very difficult to like,
Yeah.
you know, include them in. So.
Well, that's the biggest thing that goes about bringing back Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman is that she interacted with Ben Affleck's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman, and all these people that might just be wiped off, and she's the only one that remains. You know, question mark around that. But I think she's so recognizable as Wonder Woman, it would be hard to recast and maybe get the audience to buy it, unless you're just not going to do a Wonder Woman movie for a while. But also, I feel like she has under her contract one more movie, and I don't want to pay her out for doing nothing, so they're going to do a movie with her regardless. But those are my three. Do you have any other ones that I did that I didn't put down?
You took one of mine, which was Harley Quinn, but I think that's a pretty good one. I didn't put Wonder Woman down, but I do have some interesting choices. So we'll go with mine. The first one which was actually my second one was Aquaman. Jason Momoa was Aquaman.
Okay.
And I do realize that maybe that's an obvious choice, but I really like him as Aquaman. I really, really love that first movie. It's in my top 3 like DCEU movies. So I had a good time with it. We'll have to see how the second one is. Maybe my opinion will be different after we see the second film. But you know, I like Jason Momoa. I think he's a lot of fun. He's really good energy for the DCEU, and I would like to see that carry over to the DCU. The only thing is, if the movie is bad, are they going to want to, you know, continue that along? Because I think the reshoots are probably putting a bookend on Aquaman just in case they don't want to do anything with him. But spoiler alert, he was in the, you know, after credit scene for the Flash, so I have no idea what that means for
I don't think anyone knows what that means, but yeah.
But what about you? Would you be keen to see Jason Momoa come back, or would you prefer him as another character? Maybe.
I don't know. It's sort of the same thing. I think he's so recognizable as Aquaman. It's like, can you recast him? And I think it's more what he wants to do, maybe. And I think he's like a cool Aquaman as well. He's a bit different from the comics, but you can still play into that sort of like maybe like the corny or just comic booky side of it as well. And I think he can turn up the cheese if you want to put it in regards to it. So yeah, like I think it's like one of those dilemmas that James Gunn probably finds himself in. He's probably not exactly sure what to do. And he might be like, well, I'm just going to wait and see how this movie goes. I mean, if it doesn't do well, then obviously there's not a ridiculous amount of support. So maybe they might give him the leeway to do something else. But also maybe Jason Momoa is like, I think he's like almost 50, if not 50. So maybe he's like, I'm too old to be doing Aquaman at this point.
Maybe he could play the king. Maybe they could make him
something like that.
Okay, so my second choice is, it's one character, but it's kind of like my next two choices are characters, but it's also like a group, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So Black Adam as a movie, I don't think was super successful, but I did like the JSA, and my favorite character in that movie was Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. And I know we're getting a Hawk Girl character, so maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to have him in as Hawkman, but I liked him. I'd love for him to get a proper chance to play that character. So I would love to see him come into the DCU. But we talked about this briefly, and I think you would rather see like a complete clean reboot of like the JSA, right? Would you like a brand new like lineup, or do you think
I think it's more a complete reboot in the sense that we get to see more of a history with it. Because I agree with you, I liked Aldous Hodge, might I say, as Hawkman. I don't know how he would go alongside like Isabella. Is it Isabella? One of the Mercer, whatever. Izzy Mercer, we'll just shorten. Because I just don't know, like if they're next to each other, whether they look like great as Hawkman, Hawkgirl next to each other. I'm not too sure. That's, you know, we have to wait and see if that ever happens. Or if someone wants to do some concept art, I'm not too sure. But I did like him, and I think it was just like the JSA was the most interesting part, but it didn't get really dived into enough. And I know it was a Black Adam movie, so you shouldn't expect that necessarily. But I wouldn't mind seeing more of that because I love the JSA, but I wouldn't mind seeing the more historical aspect of it, and maybe it's what inspires the Justice League to be formed, or at least like gives it a footing. Where it's like, well, this existed X amount of years ago, and it's sort of like died off.
I just feel like there's so many unanswered questions with the DCEU, and I know that we probably won't ever get answers for most of them, but it's just all these like movies that lead to nothing, and it feels very sad that that's the situation. And my final choice is also a character, and this character specifically, which I think will work based on like the fact that we're keeping certain James Gunn characters around, and that's Idris Elba as Bloodsport.
Okay,
I like this character. I liked a lot of that Suicide Squad, like Ratcatcher and those characters, King Shark. I think they were all fun. So I'd love to see all of them come back in one way or another. And it's James Gunn, so I would not be shocked if we didn't get a continuation of them. But I think Bloodsport for me was like one of the best characters introduced in that era of like DCEU type stuff. I like this technology, I like his personality, and I like him as an actor. So I'd love to see him return in that role.
Okay.
Or, or maybe someone else. Maybe he could be someone different, but I'd love to see him come back as Bloodsport. So
yeah. Well, I know maybe they can connect that whole thing where he puts Superman into the ICU. Maybe they make it that there was David Corn sweats. I was like, maybe he makes a cameo on Superman Legacy and shoots Superman. I don't know. Maybe that's a bit too far. Maybe leave that for a sequel or something. But yeah, I'm not against it at all. I did very much like Idris Elba as Bloodsport in the Suicide Squad. But to finish off, you took one of the things here, but I was just going to rattle off 4 names that I think to this day debated heavily in regards to what continues on, because they haven't been shoved out the door like a Ben Affleck or Henry Cavill as Batman and Superman. Now, you already mentioned one, which is Jason Momoa as Aquaman. So I mentioned the other 3, and just give me a thumbs up or thumbs down in regards to whether you think they have any shot of continuing on. First one, Sasha Calle's Supergirl.
Thumbs down.
No. Thumbs down completely.
Yeah.
The only reason I agree with this is because I have a feeling mainly whoever directs that Supergirl movie is the one that chooses Supergirl. Right. It's not going to be James Gunn that goes, you have to use a Supergirl, because that would make it harder for a director to come in, because all of a sudden they don't have control on it. So I have a feeling she's not going to continue either, but who knows? Maybe there's another part there.
I think if Andy Muschietti was directing the Supergirl movie, there'd be a higher probability of her being Supergirl. But
yeah,
because isn't he the one that actually got her to play Supergirl? Wasn't it his choice?
Maybe she might be Catwoman in The Brave and the Bold. Who knows, Eric? Maybe there's a fan casting. I haven't seen anyone say that, so there's a fan casting. Go ahead with that one. Next one, maybe a bit edgy, maybe a bit controversial. Depends who you are. Zachary Levi's Shazam.
Okay, I know a lot of people have issues with him, but with a little bit of refinement, I think he could come back and play Shazam. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. So
once again, I agree with you. And him and James Gunn are friends as well, which is always going to be a good thing if you're an actor and wanted to be doing something in the DCU. And regardless of what people think, I think he's good as Shazam. I think Shazam 2 had some issues in regards to how the character was portrayed a bit. It felt a bit inconsistent at times. But in the first one,
I think he felt a little too young. Like Billy grew up a little bit, but then Zachary was still playing like the first movie's version of Billy.
But then they do a scene in that same movie where it felt like he'd grown.
Yeah, well, and I think they would need to do that if he comes back, as he needs to.
And maybe it has to do with like a better script and whatever it is. Yeah. But like that's it. I think once again, I think it might be weird seeing someone else play Shazam, and I think it'd be an easy one to segment over. And the Economos and whatever what's her name? The Jennifer Holland plays her. Harcourt. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They appear in the Shazam 2 end credits thing, and they're setting up JSA in that thing, so maybe they connect that. How much is more? And to finish it off, the cherry on top, we're taking a trip to Hawaii. Ezra Miller Flash.
Oh no, thumbs down.
Thumbs down completely. You don't see. Is this a personal thought or is this a prediction?
No, I mean, like, look, even before all that stuff happened with Ezra, back during like the original like Justice League era or whatever, I never liked Ezra as.
I agree. I don't think he's very good at Barry Allen. No,
I think he could play. I'm not going to say Wally West because I know how much you hate hearing that, but I think either he needs to play a completely different version of like a Flash, or some serious rework needs to be done to the way the character's portrayed. That's really the only way I can look at it. Yeah. Look, they weren't bad as the Flash in the Flash movie like, because that vibe is consistent. But I think like for me, even though that was Ezra's best performance as Barry Allen, the Flash, clearly in that Flash movie, best one. I think we need to get somebody else in.
Yeah, I don't. And the reason I agree with that completely is that I don't think Ezra was bad in the Flash. I think Ezra pretty much carried that movie for the most part. But we've rattled off someone like Harley Quinn. Margot Robbie's iconic as the character. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot's iconic as the character. You know, a lot of people, you know, Shazam, Zachary Levi, like he is that character. Aquaman, Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
When you think of the Flash, you don't immediately jump to Ezra Miller.
No.
You arguably jump to two other people, and maybe even John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah.
So that's one main reason that you'd probably go, the time is up, the price is wrong. You've won $0.
Had the Flash movie probably been a $700-800 million film where everybody really, really loved it, we might be having a different conversation about it. But
and maybe there's less controversy around it. But that's come and gone, and it's had a return ticket back to the mainland. So that's it. But anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be awesome, you could drop a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are there any options that we clearly missed that should be transferring or booking a one-way ticket from the DCU over to DCEU over to the DCU? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're not checked out Eric's channel, his link will be in the description down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you later. Goodbye.